Look great, but it's only one game. We'll see if they can repeat it here again, because a 2-0 will be quite an effort. But we've swapped sides now. Fizz and Azir, the first two bans for QG, so Korn eating a lot of bans. Kalista banned once again. LeBlanc will soon follow, and I wonder if we'll see a Rise ban.
Well, the same two bans here from QG, rather. I think LeBlanc's a different ban, but the Kalista was definitely banned last game. So we'll see if a Sivir might want to be focused again as the ban, and definitely, I would consider taking away that Rise after that last game.
I mean, Korn just went off in that game here. He's been playing pretty well for the last few weeks, but that was a true carry performance from the mid laner himself. And nice to see him finally sort of come up. And again, something's changed here. It's Insec and Zero coming in. I don't know if it's just shot calling, maybe from Insec, maybe Zero just being back for Nami, giving him a bit more strength. But Alistar banned away from Zero. Hecarim banned there from King. And QG have a lot of good first picks they can look at now as well.
Having the Alistar banned, it's not going to be the first pick focus this time like it usually is. Maybe even consider the Gragas as the first pick option, but also Nah. Insec was really impactful on that Nah. Whether he was dying or living, he was still just doing work. And it felt like he was almost enabling a lot with the shot calling. So maybe the Nah focus?
Yeah, maybe. I mean, QG going to have a Thresh at least to start things off, but strong junglers are up still. In fact, all of them are still available as far as they go.
Nautilus 2 is up.
Yes, that's the other one that's up. That might be the pick here for QG. Kind of taking their time looking maybe at the bottom lane for their first pick, but they'll decide on first pick Sivir.
Not a surprise. Sivir's doing a lot of work in the LPL so far. Have an exceptional win rate when played as well. So getting rid of that, and Kalista also not available, so Sivir's one of the strongest ADs left, and it does leave open the option of Jinx again for Name if they want, but the first two picks have been chosen here. Yeah,
it's Maokai and Gragas actually there for King, so big standard tanky frontline. I said, I don't think I'll see Insec playing something like Maokai, but lo and behold, we get to game 2. He's clearly been practicing top lane.
It seems to me as though in the background he has been doing a lot of top, because he seems quite comfortable playing top, and he was very smart, rightly backing off at good times, and working around the top lane in the 1v2 meta perfectly, so knows what he's doing and does lock in the safe top laner of Maokai.
Yeah, but Nah's the answer there for QG. Janna's going to come in now as well to get some of that hard engage out from the King lineup, because I've already got strong engage coming through. Nami again with another Nasusova. Clearly knows something that I don't about the champion being a little bit fun. Maybe, I mean, but flashing a different AD carry this time. Had Jinx in the last game, might fancy something like Lucian. Both very popular picks in a Sivir. In fact, there's a Lucian and the Bard now for Zero.
Lucian Bard. That is a lot of pressure. That is like really in your face with high pressure lane right there. Lucian is always going to be a bully with the piercing light, and then Bard is just naturally going to be in your face, utilizing the meeps for extra auto attack damage, and that's a scary lane.
I like it, especially against Sivir Janna. I mean, we talk about Sivir just wants to sort of push out the lane. Janna, very defensive sort of support. I think Name and Zero want to start bullying people around. Name was trying to do it solo, but back with his old support now, maybe going to be a bit more effective.
And it says to me that they do want to get the 2v2, even though it doesn't feel like it's always a good idea to go into the Sivir. We've seen a lot of Sivirs, especially in 2v2s, end up picking up these early kills, and that's a finished lineup now, and that's a Lulu mid.
I like that a lot from QG. Doinby going to go back to utility laners here, picking with the Lulu. But Swift Sejuani, man, is it good from what we've seen.
It is phenomenal. He always hits the right ultimates onto the right amount of targets as well. And they've put Doinby back onto the support-esque mid lane, as his Morgana was amazing. And he likes to roam around with Swift a lot, and Lulu is really good for that. You can speed up your jungler to engage.
He's excellent with that, but King, considering their last few picks, Zero sort of hovering between two different comfort picks here. Might be a time for a revisit on the Rise, and it is locked in there. Again, another relatively safe farm lane. I think Korn's right to pick it up again.
Yeah, if you get through the lane safely, it's always going to be good for the Rise. We saw how much damage the late game Korn was doing, destroying his opposition there on TNT, wrecking him as Vayne, and wow, he managed to get it again. I expected a ban.
I did as well, honestly. 2 bans were already thrown at Korn, but they threw the Alistar in there instead. Apparently that means that Zero's next champion is Bard, because that's what he selected here in this game. A little bit more fun for King, but again, some solid stuff that's already worked. Name's Lucian and Korn's Rise. We've seen both these carry players play well on these champions. I like it. I like the drafts from both teams, actually.
Yeah, both teams have got very strong drafts, and it feels like QG's roster is they've completely changed their team comps to suit their play style a lot more, and that's work around the strong team fighting stages that they had, especially last week.
Yeah, I mean, especially with Sejuani as well. When we talk about their big team fight, it really was Swift leading from the front, and he's been the player that always says to me, how are QG feeling today? Because in that last Gragas game, he just couldn't get early pressure down.
He really did struggle to get the pressure down. It seemed to be if it ever happened, it was matched by the Rek'Sai. And I mean, he tried to get pressure, but it was more so because of the lane swap, and it just felt like King was so smartly rotating the entire time. Every time they'd pick up a turret, they almost lost nothing for it.
I mean, again, whoever's doing the shot call, we have to assume it's probably Insec coming back into the lineup. They're doing a stellar job so far. Because, again, King look completely different.
They do. They look like a completely revamped and just this amazing new side that it's like first week of the LPL, and they're young, fresh talent that just came in and wrecked everyone.
Well, we'll have to see if they can wreck once again. We're going to come in for game number 2. And we're back for game number 2 between QG and King. King, in a very dramatic turn of events, have finally picked up their first win in last game, but can they get the 2-0 and the crucial 3 points? They are behind everyone else as far as points go due to an abysmal start to the LPL, but a 2-0 versus QG will be a good step on the way to sort of mounting somewhat of a comeback here in week number 3.
And that's what they'll need to do if they want to get their eye in, at least moving up the ladder somewhat, finding some victories, and the 3 points will go a long way towards that. And at the moment, while we're looking at the King side, very standard, respectful fan-style play. But the Maokai is now rotating, so maybe going to do the Raptors first.
Yep, looks to be setting up here. He's going to throw that first sapling in soon. Insec, there we go. Puts it down, so...
Yeah, you better.
Who's going to take that camp away? V's on the top side already as well. Doran's Blade now ready to start things off. So just by the positioning and the item choices, seems like standard lanes is where we begin.
And it's not a bad decision from either team this time to opt into the standard lanes. I feel like QG were challenging Insec in a way last game, saying, you're new to the top lane from what we know anyway, and we want a lane swap to really put you under the gun and see how you perform. And he kind of just showed them that he can. So maybe they want to go back to the standard lanes now. They've picked very good 2v2s, though. Yeah,
standard lanes are pretty exciting. I mean, Siva probably happy to push down some waves and just farm it up here, but Bard Lucian, surprisingly aggressive 2v2 laner. Name already likes to play aggressive. Zero often is there with him. Could be some fireworks here in the bottom side.
I have 100% faith that there'll be some kind of fireworks going off in this bottom lane. The aggression from a Lucian and a Bard is always going to be present. You've got the Siva who just tries her best to push it back, but if you want to push, you're going to have to fight them.
Well, the one small thing is that QG did get the Krugs and the Gromplin over to Huey, so they will have an experience advantage as Insec teleports to the top lane after taking the Raptor camp here. But standard stuff so far is Dombey and Korn just mashing spells into each other.
Standard aggression from a level 2 Rise, but Lulu doing her best to match that. Trying to make the trade somewhat even, it does so, but now there's no pots available.
Oh, that Q almost hit there for Zero, but you can see level 2 now for the Bard. Name finally hits level 2 himself, so the lane will equalize back up. Power Spike's hitting the bottom side, but no one going down just yet, although Swift taking out his wolves as actually Huey seems to roam towards the Scuttle Crab.
What I would like to see from Huey is to take maybe 30 seconds and Korn to let the mid lane start to push in. There's no pots available for Doinb, but he is opting towards his bottom lane, who are starting to push in themselves.
Yeah, really smart pathing actually from Huey. Level 3, knows that they're already a little too far forward. Flash binding there for Zero just for a slow, and TNT's got nowhere fun to go. Huey's going to run into him for first blood. TCT's forced to flash as well, and Huey, wonderful gank in the bottom.
The bonk from Huey actually picking it up, doing a lot of damage, and very well done from Zero, utilizing the flash with the Q for at the very least the slow. Allowed enough time for Huey to walk around, and a very good early rotation there from the Gragas.
And look at TNT. You look down at his inventory, a couple of potions and 2 Doran's Blades. He was not a fan of what just happened.
No, not a fan at all, and looking to get a bit more early pressure, or at least a bit more early sustain without having to go for that Vamp Scepter. So most likely fast tracking from the... No, it's not going to die.
No, that was the worry as Swift gets low.
Saw the squinty eyes.
Yeah, will not fall in the jungle there, will Swift, as he gets low but goes back and probably get the Trailblazer up. You're looking fine there as well. Going to go back and shop soon as well.
Yeah, picking up the skirmishes and many wards is going to be very important for this QG side to start controlling at least their side of the jungle. Based off where Huey ganked from before in the bot lane, I would not be surprised if that pink ward went near his red buff.
No, probably maybe throw that into the tri-bush there as well as Huey. Thinking again about maybe some more pressure. Actually hasn't gone back just yet, so clearing out a bit more of his jungle. But Sejuani, we talk about our first clear. It gets it quite low as we saw, but now she's going to start really powering up towards level 6.
That's right. Once you get the skirmishes, it becomes so much easier to... Oh, the Ranger's Trailblazer, sorry. It becomes a lot easier to get through the jungle and not actually lose health. So it's in a much better position to at the very least put a gank down, opposed to just being super low.
Korn going in, actually, I think. Not
so much damage.
Quite proc the passive just yet. Actually has 4 stacks now, and Huey, he's ready. He wants Dornby to overextend just a little bit more.
Yeah, he is waiting in the wings there, trying to get the gank off, and rightly so, because the kill pressure is very evident.
Jesus.
Still has the flash, is Huey. So if he wanted to, and it looks like he kind of does, hanging around for quite a while, might want to try and get something off.
Yeah, you're going to have to back away instead. Dornby's going back to base. Swift almost ignoring his lanes in the early stages, preferring to farm up himself and get 6 as fast as he can. Huey instead will take the Scuttle Crab. That goes down to a smite. And Korn again, going to get a little CS lead here actually in the mid lane as he's starting to get stronger and stronger.
Just that constant trading that you've got from Korn, the early pressure that he's really trying to put down, starting to have an impact on this lane. And Lulu's base damage is not massive, but you're naturally quite tanky. So up against this Ryze, it's really impressive to see that he's managed to out-sustain a Lulu's shield.
Well, the lane might move back a little bit now as Korn does go back, has his tier around the 6-minute mark, so decent timer there. Ruby Crystal done as well, but Chalice up for Lulu means they're probably going to get quite a bit of farming in the mid lane now.
At the very least, a lot more sustain to stop Korn from doing any damage. And the fact that he's opting towards the ramping up items of the Rod of Ages again with the tier is it's going to take a bit of time for Korn now, but once he gets that 6 and can start actually utilizing his ultimate, he's going to get the move speed, the AoE. They're just going to be farming. And
we saw it in the last game. When Korn got free farm as Ryze, he completely out-damaged Dornby in the mid game there versus the Orianna. He did so much work in those early skirmishes and team fights that as soon as Korn got involved, everyone else was dying.
Yeah, pretty much. Utilizing the rotations that King were doing so smartly, having a bigger impact, and fighting in the jungle, most importantly, was the biggest factor as to why Korn could freely do a lot of damage, because it's very hard to miss a spell when there's a small area to walk through.
Yeah, I mean, he was a very short-range mage and nice short-range places. Huey,
Ooh.
Nice flash body slam finds V, but the flash from Nut keeps him safe as well.
Unfortunately, just missing that body slam with simultaneous flashes, so very well done. That is so hard to predict, because you do not know if he's going to flash to hit you, and you can't really predict it. It was just an intuition flash there from V, so well done.
Nice little read there from the Nut. Keeps him safe as Nami collecting some Caretaker Shrines for a bit of extra health. Swift counter-jungling, actually, trying to get towards level 6. He's about 30% of the way there at this stage. Korn up against his turret now, trying to last it under there. Yeah, there's Huey in the area, but Arctic Assault keeps him safe, and Huey denied. No
Got
wolves
to jungle camp just in time. Otherwise, he could have been caught out because the support of Zero was actually rotating there. Instead, opting to do the recall thing and getting back to base.
Yep, back there instead. And Nami now going to have an edge in this matchup. The double Dorans doing work for TNT after getting ganked in the early game. But BF Sword Lucian, this is not a contest right now.
And that's going to be a big talking point of this bot lane 2v2. Even if you're on the side of QG, you might want to opt into the lane swap unless you can get the BF Sword of your own. The advantage that you're going to have here compared to an Avarice Blade and Boots as an entire BF sword, the damage difference is massive.
Yeah, I mean, not even a pickaxe that being looked at did have enough gold for it. So Avarice Blade definitely sort of just saying, okay, I can see the lane. I've got double Dorans already.
This time.
Yep, you can have it, Nami. Get a bit of free farm. We'll see if Lucian have the same impact here for Jinx. And Korn getting stronger. Everyone from King farming back up. Again, a very slow early game apart from the first gank from Huey. But that suited King just fine in the last game. We'll see if their mid-game short calling is just as strong in this game.
Well, they definitely still scale just as well as they did last game. Having the Lucian's a bit different style of scaling, but he does so much work in the late game. And maybe the smart rotation right here if you're a King is you've got the blue buff on Ryze, and the damage difference in the bot lane is so big that you'd probably just want to take up a free dragon.
Yeah, I mean, plenty of strength right now to go and fight for it. Teleports up for the top laners as well as Insect, trying to get as much farm as he can, actually keeping equal against the Null, which is nice to see there as well. Nami takes a little bit of damage out, but Zero setting down some shrines and going to give Nami a bit of extra health. Means that they take smart trades. They'll be just fine in 2v2.
You know, the more that I look at this 2v2, the scarier it feels on the side of QG. The Sustainer Bard gives is underrated as well. Swift is coming from behind here.
Yeah, Insect chasing in. Swift's level 6 now as well. Huey going to try and move him out. The ulti does hit for both Gragas and Sejuani. Swift actually taking a little too much damage, but finally comes back in. You can see Ryze is up here as well. Korn trying to make it happen. Gets the snare back. V takes the kill. Transformed into Mega Gnar, and there's nothing they can do.
Using his Sejuani companion, jumping over the little piggy and actually picking up the passive proc and getting an extra bit of damage down. Enough to get the kill with that last auto just before Korn comes in to try his best to save the day. So well done to not turn into the Mega Gnar, and a very smart decision to utilize his mini Gnar.
Yeah, great roams from both mid laners as well, but Korn not quite there in time, and Doinby ready to add utility and clean up. Korn instead going to take away the Raptors, and King starting to fall behind in this lane despite the item disadvantage. I forgot how impactful TCT was on Janna.
He plays very aggressively and forward, doesn't he? He kind of bullies them out and makes the Lucian hit the Janna. Gives TNT a lot of free time to at the very least push the minions in or throw out a boomerang and try and pressure them. But again, the item discrepancy is so large that if Name can ever get onto them, if Zero can ever hit a stun, what'll happen to V will happen to them.
Yeah, Huey's back here as Insect just going in. The Hexdrinker procs Huey's in though. Q's going to come through. Mega Gnar will transform, and Insect's like, I don't really want this. Swift find it instead. Mega Gnar kills Insect, and Huey, he can't find the kill.
Playing a dangerous game here is V, saving that ultimate until he could get in range of Insect, managing to get the kill.
Now Name and Zero going to go aggressive. Need the binding. Culling comes through. Cancelled though by TCT as both the ultimates pop there for the bottom side. Zero now kiting away. Heal used for Name. V's porting down to the bottom. Name forced to flash. Gets onto the shrine. Bard ulti going to stop V from coming through. TCT though gets the knock up. Now the teleport's coming through for Insect, and it might be off. Cancels it. Very nice mind game as Con gets low to the Raptors, but will be safe.
The Tempered Fate, they're stopping Gnar from doing anything. Very well done to save that for as long as possible and actually use it to deny anything further from happening. And funnily enough, TNT starting the fight off with a crit.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, right, is the Avarice Blade is there for a bit of extra crit, and Double Thorns isn't that much AD, but it's okay, but levels in shield for TCT must have been making the difference in this lane, because all of a sudden TNT is somewhat rewarded, or at least sort of hidden by the fact that he's gone for a very greedy crit item first.
Well, he's going for the money, and it just so happens that because of the Janna shield, as you mentioned, giving him the extra damage, he did crit with the first auto attack, and it kind of makes you rethink what you're doing at the moment as Lucian. So having to back off instantly, and also a very good Janna ult before to disengage.
Yeah, nice engage there coming in as QG looked to push down as Name has actually stayed here, maybe overstayed actually as he bops out of the way of a Boomerang Blade. Will clear out the turret, but Civ is trying to push this down. Bard going to rotate back in as well. Turret looks relatively healthy from what I can tell, but you can tell the bottom lane game of chicken still here as no one wants to back first.
Yeah, and I think that works out in favor of Sivir almost. TNT actually getting the gold that he needs to buy a relevant damage item is going to work out quite well. And Swift
is here as well, finds Name with the ulti. Zero can't save him this time. Kill for Sedwani. Zero forced to flash out of it. And QG starting to pick up kills. Swift, you can tell, a much different impact this game.
The second he gets onto Sejuani, he just seems to do everything for his team, and the aggression and the decision-making is always there, as Huey does not want him to take this pink ward.
No, Korn's come in, and that's good protection. Great ulti there from Gragas as well as Korn. He's chasing it. I think he's popped his ulti. No, not quite. Didn't want the extra move speed, so won't get the kill, but pink ward successfully protected.
At the very least, protecting the pink ward. It's a win for Huey. And it's a big middle finger to the side here of Swift.
It is indeed, and Swift, honestly, you have to sort of put up that barricade because he's getting in everyone's face here. Bottom lane starting to fall behind. Top lane, he's been there many a time as well. And Huey doing a nice job counter-ganking, in all honesty, but just, again, having a bit more of an impact than Huey's been able to have.
Yeah, it's working out pretty well for the QG side here. Even the fact that the Sivir, who now has the BF sword and a dagger, was doing well against the Lucian with the item discrepancy just goes to show how strong Sivir is, and the fact that you've got the Janna to support. It's so hard to get down onto them and do the damage. And I mean, the spell shield's very good against the Bard because it's a very predictable and easy to spell shield spell. So it's also very slow traveling.
Yes, slow missile speed on Cosmic Binding. Thank God, otherwise people would be getting smacked by Bard Bindings all the time. Korn again clearing out the way, but his turret's starting to take a bit more damage. Insect farming up. Rodovage is done soon for Korn, but probably just has to find time to go back and buy it. Athene's done for Doinby. Everyone else getting stronger on the side of QG. And still, as I look up, no Dragon's even been looked at. It's been just bloodthirsty skirmishes and ganks all game long.
Yeah, there's been so many trades that there hasn't actually been someone healthy enough or able to even consider doing the Dragon just because they're too busy fighting each other. That's right. And I mean, we've got a 2-0 Gnar now who doesn't have the teleport available for another minute and a half, roughly. So they can consider going for it, but Insect is up first.
Oh, Insect taking so much damage from this Gnar. might have to back away and consider his next item. Huey looking for a gank in the mid lane as Korn will return with a finish rod of Aegis, but will be back in time to clear the minions out from under his turret. So again, Rise getting stronger, but Insec, yeah, he's coming in. They want to try and get a gank. Bard's here as well. Doinby's going to move through. Magical Journey open for Zero, and Doinby gets locked up and killed by Korn.
That was really cute from Zero, because if Lulu thought he was going to save himself, it was going to be directly into the Maokai, and I kind of wanted that to happen, but they get enough damage down to pick up the kill anyway, and I just love that.
Zero is certainly a player that he's fun. He's a fun guy. Certainly a character here. And finally the pick can open up a dragon. Nice teleport from Insec to get them this objective. But nah, looks to trade, in the top side. So get that tower down. It will be the first one of the game if he can get it. TNC looking maybe for a steal, but Magical Journey gets them out. Zero might even look to engage, but instead they'll clear a ward and look to push bottom.
Yeah, they still know that there's no teleport available here from V, and that was something we were talking about before, is that Insec had it up so much earlier that he was able to utilize that. They get a good gank off in mid and they take Doinby down. They get the dragon and they started to rotate with that Magical Journey towards the bot lane, but Siva returned just in time to have all of the wave clear in the world.
Yeah, smart stuff from TNT. Has plenty of flat AD now as well. Even Swift at his Krogs might look to come down, but King are going to move out of the bottom lane now instead. And you can see QG going to take the turret and actually extend a fairly reasonable gold lead here. Most of it's just farm. I think the Avarice Blade Siva probably has something to do with it. But we look up, we see 3,000 gold ahead already for the side.
Now, there was no other choice here by using the teleport to get the kill onto Doinby. The next logical rotation was the dragon, but they lose a turret for it. So they're losing objectives that give gold for non-gold objectives such as the dragon. The first dragon's going to be big, but if this lead continues to seep further and further into the favor of QG, maybe they can continue to just trade turrets constantly and push a lead that's so big they can just win.
And they've got good mid-game strength as well. Doinby getting stronger, got max CDR now with the cooldown boots and the Athenes both finished, and Deathcap will be really his only other item that he'll want in this game, and that should be where he looks to next. Locket done for Swift. Siva getting stronger with a mountain of gold you have to think to spend as well. Even Nama's like, you know what, I'm sick of your Avarice Blade. Actually answered with one of his own.
Yeah, well, it seems to be Avarice Blade, regardless of when you get it, just seems to be the prioritized item here of the Static Shiv. And it's interesting that people do opt to do that, because they're not going for the attack speed aspect of the Zeal or the move speed aspect. They're looking for that little bit extra of gold, and let's just say it gives you 100 total. It's still worth it, because that's 100 you wouldn't have had.
Oh, Doinby actually going to get aggressed on by Korn, but just a bit of a trade back and forth as Rise gets low on mana. Swift is monstrous in this bottom side with over 2k health already, and an ultimate looking for that Lucian once more.
It's warded though.
Yep, does sweep it out, so they'll now know what's up, but Nami immediately backs off with the help of Zero's Bard. And again, King just sort of looking to scale, but this time they actually don't have a mid-game lead.
No, they don't have a lead as big as it was last game, and the lead is in fact in favor of QG by roughly 3,000 gold still. So a very good position here for QG, because as you said before, their mid-game spike is very evident. Once they start to get maybe another item onto the Siva perhaps, but then they've still got the Janna shield, so Siva's damage always going to be relevant. They've got the Lulu, so they've got a lot of protection on whoever they choose. It just comes down to the engagement, and Swift is oh so good at that.
I mean, yeah, he's been looking for dives, it looks like at this point for quite a while, as Insec has fallen further and further behind in farm. I only just looked up then. Insec is 40 CS behind this now.
Yeah, that helps when you get 2 kills in laning phase and you can rush an early Hex Tech and TNT though.
Yeah, has to use his ulti. TCT actually gets binded up there by the Bard. Janna going to get low. Nami flashes. Good juke to try and get out of the tornado, but it wasn't enough there as King get aggressive.
Very good tornado timing to stop the Relentless Pursuit from coming out after the flash. So very aggressive play from Name. Gets punished and loses the flash for it, but now they both have to back off.
Yeah, Huey chasing in there has actually come down and will take the Krug away from Swift, I believe. Yes, does steal it. Lucha going to try and pressure the bottom. King kind of desperately looking for a bit more gold. They'll be happy to take a turret, but Doinby's pressuring onto Korn, who's trying to clear out minions as fast as he can, and people are still coming down to contest this push. QG holding onto that bottom turret for dear life.
I really like what Doinby has done so far in the mid lane, and that's completely keep Korn there. Push the wave in. Is he going to... Oh, I really wanted to take that.
I mean, if anyone was going to, it was going to be Swift. He was actually found Gragas instead. Gets the lockup with Arctic Assault. That forces the ultimate out from Huey. Body Slam keeps him safe as well, but King are going to lose the blue buff.
Yeah, just to touch back on what I was saying before, Swift got me a little bit overexcited with the chance.
Oh, Insect
Speaking
dead to Hyper. V really starting to push around Insect in this lane.
Yeah, it's starting to become a big factor in what's actually going to translate into rotations very soon. And V having the teleport available, they're starting to get near the bot lane. They might go for a dive, but it's very unlikely because TNT is so far behind.
And Nama ate so much damage from Ricochet there as well. Needs to try and heal him up. V's going to stick in the top side and again bully Insect around. Korn returns to lose his mid lane by the looks of things as Dornby finally puts enough pressure on to take the turret. Korn still scaling Kinga, trying not to get dived in the bottom side, and it's just a different game as TNT eats the binding, but he'll be safe enough.
He gets Ignite as well and has no spell shield.
Forced a flash there as the Tempered Fate comes through for 0, but Kinga just struggling to make proactive plays. Korn's now on the top side, but V can read it like a book with a couple of wards that he's got down, and he'll just back away slowly.
Yeah, very easy and just calm play almost here from the QG side. They don't need to overextend. They don't need to put themselves into what could be a bad fight. And they're opting instead to just poke down, utilize the fact that the Nah is in fact 3-0 with a 60 CS lead, but...
Oh, going in, TCT, forced to flash. Insect coming down with a teleport, forced to cancel once more. None of the plays that King are making are working here, and it's Swift that's all over them in the mid-game.
Both teleports now down, used at the same time. Not a lot going to happen in terms of teleport rotations, and with the Dragon up in 30 seconds, will someone opt to stay top? Or will they rotate for this?
I mean, Na's already there. I think Insect shopping to run back down to the Dragon, and he does have a right to score, so he is relevant. Name, though, has to shop as well. His Infinity Edge at least should be online, if not a little bit more. That's a very key cancel, though, for TCT. That buys them so much time.
It at least gives them awareness of the fact that when this Dragon spawns, he's not going to be close enough to engage on them if they want to put wards down. They don't have enough vision deep enough near the Dragon area, only that one in the side bush in the river, so they can go through that avenue, but they need to recall themselves, and complete control of the Dragon area is still in King's favor.
Yeah, I like the movement from Korn, actually, but they've actually already abandoned the bottom lane of QG. They realize they have to shop. Name's quite strong with his Zeal and IE done, so TNT goes back to match those items, even as Berserker Greaves and an extra Doran's Blade ahead there as well.
I think they want to fight this.
It looks like they want to. Swift can line up an ulti. Dragon's already dead, though, and Magical Journey will get them to safety.
It just is so magical.
It is so, so magical as Korn moves his way down. Even Insect was roaming down as well, but Nah not being there is probably the key thing. V is massive at this stage of the game with his Randuin's already completed. We're seeing what he's doing to Insect. I don't really want to see what he does in a team fight.
Now, the reason I said that they wanted to fight is not necessarily the fact that V is as big as he is. You can see the fact that he has gone for all of these tanky stats and tanky items, so he's looking to fight soon. But I was looking more at the fact that Doinby has a Mejai's and a Negatron Cloak. That tells me that he wants to fight soon. He's going for the effective resistance stats, and he's relying on the rest of his team to give him kills so that Mejai has some kind of relevance in the next fight or two. It's a big risk. And with only a 4K gold lead, if one fight goes bad for them, and you've now opted into all these resistance items, you're going to be irrelevant in terms of damage. And as one of the two carries of this side, the other one being a Sivir that isn't necessarily known for her absurd hyper carry skills, that could put you in a very rough spot.
It could, and that's going to put even more burden onto Swift to make big plays, and V as well, honestly, given how well his game's gone. Certainly trust in the QG top laner and jungler. They can do it here, but King more than happy just to chill out, weather the storm, keep getting their farm, because like we've mentioned, their scaling seems quite good here in this situation. It's just a matter of don't fall too far behind.
Yeah, they don't want to fall very far behind from here. They do have the 2 Dragon objectives, and it's a 23 minutes, so it's not too bad. They'll have a reasonably 40-minute, roughly, 5th Dragon if they decide to continue to push for that objective. So overall, they're going to be quite content with just farming right now and getting some big items. They've got the Ceres completed with the Sork Shoes and Rod of Ages for this Rise, so he's big. And they've got a fair bit of gold down for this Lucian, who can start to really ramp up with his next recall.
Yeah, Name's actually got a big shop to get in as well. Yeah. He should have Berserker Greaves and his static shift done once he does recall as well. V continuing to apply pressure in the top lane, 1,000 gold for himself to spend there as Korn cleans out a ward from the Raptor pit. Again, King don't really have to do anything here, just keep farming up. But we saw their shot calling in game 1 when they were ahead. Very curious to see how it looks while they're behind.
Yeah, and they are behind by a reasonable amount. It started to pull ahead to about 5,000. I mean, the difference between the top laners is a lot of gold right now. And even the junglers, in fact, look at that, 30 CS and almost 1,400 gold in favor.
It's just all that kill participation, honestly. There's been 6 kills total in this game. QG have 4 of them, and 3 kill participations apiece. 3 actual kills for V there as another turret goes down. That's the other big advantage they have. The gold again mounting up, but King, one team fight here, and all of those outer turrets get knocked down. They start going for more objectives. Baron's now a consideration. It won't take much, but King do need to do something eventually.
Yeah, they're going to have to win the next fight, though, or I worry for the fact that the snowball that QG have is going to be too big. They've already got the big Gnar. They've already got a massive Sejuani. The Sivir is doing her job quite effectively right now, pushing down turrets. And the big difference between them at the moment is King are looking for the dragons, but they're not getting money for those dragons again. They're losing out in the money trade just because the laners of QG are so big that King needed to still go for something and have some kind of win condition. The top laner being this far behind here on Insect, they're going to have to find a fight, though, to deny the snowball from Doinby.
Surprised that didn't look a little more aggressively there, actually. Korn does quite a bit of damage. Zero had his ulti, but maybe didn't have enough vision to pick a fight in what was, from what we can tell, a 3v3. Instead, King relegated to farming once again, although that's so many people collapsing in the mid state as Doinby moves out. TCT pops his ulti, teleports coming through, Doinby getting low. Wild Growth will get popped in there as the culling comes through. Massive Gnar though for VZ, hits onto 4. Swift lining up the ulti, gets him there as well, but Insect in the front line, quite tanky. Huey is as well, and King get the first kill, looking for more as Nami is forced to flash away. TNT going so aggressive, takes out Nami, turns around the fight. Magical Journey stopped by Swift. Sivir gets a double kill. And King, it looks so good, but TNT made it count.
One of those better late than never moments right there from TNT. The massive engages. TCT is...
Ooh, that's an awkward time to pause if there ever was one.
That fight was very big for QG, though. They got the kills that they needed, and though it looked a little bit sloppy at the start, you could still see the 5-man from V. Massive. And the Sejuani ultimates all used in almost like a disengage style, but a pseudo-engage. They got TNT to the fight, and that was when it really started to impact. And he got the flash forward, picked up the double kill in typical TNT fashion.
You can see as well, we do have a quick unpause as TNT gets another kill there onto the Maokai. They're looking for more, but won't find the Bard. And as the dust settles, QG win the fight 3-1, despite the fact that King weathered all those teamfight ultimates.
How many stacks is that on the Lulu right now?
Not too sure, but Doinby has not died since he picked it up, I believe. So I think he's looking good.
He's looking very good. And this is the snowball that I'm worried for on the side of King. They need to find something very soon. They do have the dragon in a minute. That'll be a big win condition for them if they can get that. They've got some big item spikes right now. Ryze has 2 of his core items, the Sork Shoes, and is working on what looks like a Void Staff. And he's going to be doing a lot of damage if he can get that.
I mean, 7,000 gold behind our King, though, so it'll be a struggle no matter what happens here. I agree, they do have good options, but maybe 10 more minutes in this game they need to sort of go by before they're really looking to fight QG head-on. And QG, if they can keep running with the snowball that they've been packing snow into for the last 10 to 15 minutes, V especially with those massive Gnar ultis, now is a black cleaver for snowballing as well.
I feel like this dragon fight, if it goes to QG, even if they just pick up the free dragon, it starts to look very dire for the side of King. And granted, they do scale. You can just see it was almost like a masterstroke from Doinby going for that Mejaz. I've harped on about it a little bit, but when it works out amazingly. And the fact that he can go then for an Abyssal Scepter and Athenes and stack magic resistance, and then have the free damage from a Mejaz, a very cost-efficient item, if it works, is doing very well for them right now. And then you've got the Black Cleaver on Gnar.
Yeah, I mean, V just finished that, I believe. So went for teamfight items early. I guess now is 3-1-2, snowballing quite a bit. Massive CS lead still against Insect there as well. Probably thinking, you know what? I think I fancy myself a damage item now.
I really like it, though, because it's going to be big here. TNT is going to be doing a lot more damage, almost just because of the fact that the Black Cleaver will be reducing the armor of the frontline members. The Frozen Heart finished, almost the Randuin's finished, and that's the dragon to QG.
Yeah, and that means King are actually over towards the Baron, but it's only Vision that they can clear out for themselves. Zero getting a little bit risky there. Doesn't even kill the Pink Ward, actually, as he forced a Magical Journey himself to safety. QG will now clear out the wall. They have a pink in the pit already, and King again just need to buy themselves a little bit more time, but I don't think QG are interested in giving them very much of that.
I would not give them any more time right now as the QG side. They've got the big item advantages at the moment. The last Whisper being done for only the pickaxe here on Name. Very good position is TNT to carry his side through the next fight. Lulu and Jana are essentially just there to support, and then you've got the Sejuani in our front line. They've got all of the makings for a team fight with a lead, and with an 8k lead, why not just force something now?
And again, King shot calling well behind us. Our question for this game. While ahead last game, it looks fantastic, but King seem to be just saying to themselves, guys, don't get caught out, don't fight, don't force team fights, make them come to us and hold on for as long as we can. But if King start to lose any more than this, it's gonna that snowball again that QG have really been building up and pushing up the hill. It's just gonna start rolling right back down it.
Exactly. If they get that snowball really going, and I mean, one more good team fight is essentially all it will take for that snowball to become too unbearable for the side of King. It's going to come down to what they opt into as the next fight. But the longer that you take to opt into that fight, the more you start to get bled out here by what is this strong QG side.
That's binding there from Zero, actually hitting onto Lulu, but actually got tagged by long-range Glitter Lance, so skill shots being traded there between the support and the mid laner for King and QG respectively. Korn clearing out the blue buff for himself, and you mentioned that Void stuff already means that he is team fight ready. Name going back? No, not quite. That looks to be someone else's. Again, King kind of forced to stick on the top side of the map because they cannot afford to give QG Baron.
And here's what's most likely going to happen is that they'll get the Void Staff done, which is completed. Now they need that last Whisper. Once they have both of their heavy penetration items on both of their carries, they need to take the chance on a team fight for an objective. Whether they want to group and siege, their siege isn't that great, so most likely a fight for the Baron or the next Dragon will be the plan of attack here for King. If they don't do that, again, they will start to get bled out.
Name finds his back, but I thought for a second Huey almost got himself caught, but no, Insec will have his teleport back up soon. V will also, as this top lane has been matching teleport timers for what feels like all game long. Last Whisper's now done. Those heavy penetration items are completed. King, they want to look to fight. Maybe QG going into Baron is their call here, but they need to go in quickly as QG have complete control of the area as far as Baron vision goes, and Insect's still stranded in the bottom lane.
Yeah, he's going to have to stay down there. The pressure that V is putting on is immense, and it really does deny Insect from having any relevance in initiating a team fight with that Righteous Glory. And if we have a look at the side of King, without the Righteous Glory Maokai initiation, they don't have a whole lot to offer besides maybe a Tempered Fate, and then the Gragas, who can very easily be dodged or countered with a flash.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. It's kind of a heroic bite ulti for Zero that'll do the job here, and V is relentless in his pushing of Insect here. 262 to 193 now as far as CS goes, and I actually love the Black Cleaver for V because he sort of got it at a time where it was appropriate, and now he's actually a very good split pusher.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot easier for him to 1v1 anybody just because of the Black Cleaver. He's going to have a lot more presence in a 1v1. He's going to have a lot more presence in a team fight, solely because he's already got the tanky items and he's working towards more damage. And with another last Giant's Belt coming out, who knows what he'll opt for now? Most likely, even a Warmogs.
Maybe. I mean, V's a monster at this stage. And QG, you know what? We've had enough of this. We're starting Baron. Come to us or not. We'll fight you if you come. We'll take Baron if you don't. And King, they have to try something.
They've got to do something now. There's not much health left on it, so they do force them away. I guess they just don't want to overcommit to it. They don't needlessly need to take any risks up against this side. And they can utilize that V is just so big that he does not even care that Insect is touching him.
Yeah, tanked a bunch of Insect damage, but the tower would do a bit more, but didn't aggro it here as V gets good damage done onto it. That tower's going to fall soon here as Dragon back up in a minute 40 means that QG honestly might even just use it as extra bait here and try and get themselves the Baron that they've clearly been trying to push for. Donby has a Rabadon's and an Abyssal Scepter now completed as well. 527 ability power with, I believe, 8 Magi stacks. Not bad at all if you're Lulu.
That's a pretty good position to be in if you're a Lulu. Only 0, 1, and 3, but it doesn't matter because if you win another team fight, the stacks go up, your ability power goes up, and they're going all in for this one this time.
Yeah, Huey's down the bottom. QG just take the Baron away from King, who couldn't quite find their way in. Tempered Fate, though, from Zero might buy enough time. They have to try and steal it, but they don't have a smite. Swift will get it. Korn's forced to flash out. Sivir ult's been popped. Swift comes in. Two-man ulti finds Korn. He's dead instantly as Huey dives back in there as well, but Swift kites around. Huey forced to flash away. Insect found his way in. It's only one kill, but the Baron's most important now.
Straight away, picking up Korn is a big factor. They've got that Baron buff, and they've lost a big part of their wave clear now. They don't have a whole lot left to offer, and the team here with this shield amount is unbelievable.
TNT so aggressive as well. Look how far forward he is riding a Lulu Whimsy. The base broken, and Hip's going to fall in the mid as well, and King just a bit out of position there as Bard just gets wrecked by the Sivir damage here. Everyone's doing damage on QG. They're so far ahead, and they're not stopping. They're picking the bottom lane now as well.
And this was the risk-reward factor that we were discussing earlier about the Mejai's on the Lulu. You just pay attention to the shield amount that TNT is actually being given. He can solo carry this game now because he's got support for days from the amount of ability power this Lulu has and the Janna alone. Ooh. Speaking of Janna.
TCT, yeah, gets cancelled. It's like, oh, I'm shopping. What's wrong? Huey's here. TNT comes back in. Bit of an awkward pause once again, but Huey, he has to back away from Sivir. She's so strong right now.
Sivir very strong, and the amount of support that the Sivir's getting with this front line. The QG roster at this point in time in this game, after winning 2 successful team fights after getting the Mejai's and having that Baron, they're in a commanding position.
And again, we talk about shot calling. Game number 1. All on Insec or whoever it was when they were ahead. I think King have done the right thing here as far as like just play to delay the game, get to the later stages. But you said it already. They had to pull the trigger on a team fight at some point, and they never got a good chance to.
Every time that there was the opportunity to pull a trigger, QG were backing off, and it was very smart play from them. They waited until they saw Huey in the bot lane before going all in for the Baron, so they do get the free Baron because there's no smite possibility to steal it away.
Yeah, and it was smart stuff there as we pop back in, and QG take themselves a dragon away. So just going to keep even the third dragon away from King. Make sure there's nothing else they're able to grab off this map. And 35 minutes in, King have gotten strong, but QG still stronger here, 10,000 gold ahead. And V has gone full Zatai mode, full carry Gnar, double Spectre's Qiao for Swift for some reason, but a frozen mallet for the Gnar.
He has got all of the makings of winning a 1v1 at the moment against this Maokai. And it's going to be quite scary if you were Insect to try and even stop him from split pushing.
I mean, he couldn't. They called Huey to try and deal with it, and that's what got him the Baron. V has adapted wonderfully here. Initially going for the tank, now moving now into more of a split pusher, and poor Insect on the Maokai. Looked just fine on Gnar in game 1, but really bullied around in game 2.
Yeah, he's having a much harder time this game, and you can see the side of QG almost looking completely different in their own right. The aggression was there like the last game, but the decision-making and when to be aggressive has been so much better, and they got the top turret now, working towards that inhibitor turret.
Yeah, 7 turrets to 1 is the lead there for QG. Only 9-3 in kills, but they didn't need very many team fights. TNT just face-tanking stuff with all the shields from the Lulu. Name's forced to culling away, but that's not nearly enough to clear out QG.
It's just filthy. The amount of shields that he gets right now, he does not have to regard anybody on the King lineup besides maybe Name. But even then, you've got so many shields, you can just 1v1 him. If Name's near you, he's probably going to die.
Yeah, I mean, and he's not. TNT's playing super far forward. We saw the flash in one of the crucial mid-game team fights that got them to this position. And they're just going to face tank turrets. V is so tanky at this point. About to pop in a Mega now. Zero, he's dead now. The doll heal, though, comes in. Name trying to take it up, but a massive ult from V scoops him back into the fight. Sivir gets the double. Going to look for it again, but Lulu denies any chance of a penta. Huey's going to die, though. Insect's going to be next. Sivir gets maybe a quadra for her troubles as the triple comes through, and Swift's going to chase the last kill along with Doinby.
Are they going to chase?
Insect going to buy some time. They'll chase a little bit here, but V's at least doing the right thing. He's onto the Nexus turrets.
They're having a bit of fun trying to get him down. They have enough time to get back to the base and actually finish the game themselves because everybody is dead on the King's side. And that fight again, we've been talking about how big the Sivir looks from the raw shield amount, but V even hitting the very tip of that Gnar ultimate, knocking them back into the tree.
That ult was so sick.
This Gnar has been exceptional.
And Zero puts the portal through the Nexus, says, good game, guys, and QG win game number 2 to